Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha Television. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you, and in the next 30 minutes I'll be taking you through the biggest news stories that you might have missed during the night, and also will give you an insight on what to expect in the day ahead, starting with the headlines. President Ramnath Kovind underscores country's unity in diversity as the key to success, advocates building India as an economic leader and moral exemplar. Prime Minister surveys flood-hit areas in Gujarat, announces interim assistance of 500 crore rupees, rescue operations on in flood-hit areas of Rajasthan and Odisha. Separatist leader Shabir Shah arrested by Enforcement Directorate in alleged terror funding case. NIA gets the custody of 7 separatists on Monday. Rescue operations on in Mumbai after building collapse. 17 people killed, 11 injured. Police detained Shiv Sena leader who owns the property in Ghatkopar. And India take on Sri Lanka in the first of the 3-match test series in GAL today. India without regular opener KL Rahul. Sri Lanka without test keeper Dinesh Chandimal. Ramnath Kovind was sworn in as the 14th President of India on Tuesday. In his first address to the nation, recalling his days as a Member of Parliament, Kovind said that India's unity in diversity was the key to its success. Kovind is the second Dalit president after K.R. Narayanan. Now, outgoing President Pranab Mukherjee, Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari and Prime Minister Narendra Modi were among those who were present at the ceremony.
Ramnath Kovind on Tuesday took oath as the 14th President of India at a ceremony in the Central Hall of Parliament. He was administered the oath of office by Chief Justice of India J.S. Kheher. At around 11:15 a.m., a car kit arrived from the Rashtrapati Bhavan to take Kovind for the oath-taking ceremony.
मैं ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि
रामनाथ कोविंद ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि
मैं श्रद्धापूर्वक
भारत के राष्ट्रपति के पद का कार्यपालन करूंगा।
At the presidential palace, Kovind was accompanied by his wife Savita Kovind and outgoing President Pranab Mukherjee. A 21-gun salute was also given in honor of the newly elected president. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan were among those present. Soon after taking oath, Kovind said he was honored to be sworn in as the 14th President and will carry out his responsibilities with all humility. In his first address after the swearing-in, Kovind said India's unity in diversity was the key to its success. The new president advocated the need to build an India that was not only an economic leader but also a moral exemplar.
मैं इस महान राष्ट्र के 125 करोड़ नागरिकों को नमन करता हूं और उन्होंने मुझ पर जो विश्वास जताया है उस पर खरा उतरने का मैं वचन देता हूं। साथियों, देश की सफलता का मंत्र उसकी विविधता है। विविधता ही हमारा वो आधार है जो हमें अद्वितीय बनाता है। इस देश में हमें राज्यों और क्षेत्रों, पंथों, भाषाओं, संस्कृतियों, जीवन शैलियों जैसी कई बातों का सम्मिश्रण देखने को मिलता है। हम बहुत अलग हैं, लेकिन फिर भी एक हैं और एकजुट हैं।
The president said while India had achieved a lot as a nation, the effort to do more and do better should be relentless. Kovind also made special mention of women and their role in nation building.
अब स्वतंत्रता मिले 70 वर्ष पूरे होने जा रहे हैं। हम 21वीं सदी के दूसरे दशक में हैं वो सदी जिसके बारे में हम सभी को भरोसा है कि ये भारत की सदी होगी। भारत की उपलब्धियां ही इस सदी की दिशा और स्वरूप तय करेंगी। हमें एक ऐसे भारत का निर्माण करना है जो आर्थिक नेतृत्व देने के साथ ही नैतिक आदर्श भी प्रस्तुत करे। हमारे लिए ये दोनों मापदंड कभी अलग नहीं हो सकते।
Before going to the ceremony, the new president and the first lady also offered their respects to Mahatma Gandhi at Rajghat. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
News from Parliament proceedings, and the opposition and the ruling BJP on Tuesday blamed each other for the agrarian crisis in the country. The opposition parties in the upper house accused the government of being insensitive towards farmer issues. Here are the details.
Opposition and the BJP traded blame in the upper house for the agrarian distress. Soon after the house started up the discussion, the opposition accused the government of being insensitive towards the farmers' issues.
Food grains में हमारा जो import 2014-15 में केवल 134 करोड़ था, वो 16-17 में बढ़कर 9,009 करोड़ हो गया, an increase of 6,623%.
Political parties including the JDU and the DMK demanded loan waivers for the farmers.
The central government is destroying the cooperative sector, which has been helpful to poor farmers to an extent. Demonetization was extremely harmful to the cooperative sector.
The banks in Tamil Nadu are threatening the farmers. The reason for the suicide by the farmers in Tamil Nadu is they are treated like criminals.
Trinamool MP Derek O'Brien raised the issue of farmer suicides. He also alleged that demonetization had further aggravated their woes. Ram Gopal Yadav of Samajwadi Party said the farmers were being deprived of remunerative prices for their produce.
So we talk about bullet trains, smart cities, Kisan channels, but the life of the farmer is still the same.
खेती की उपेक्षा, किसानों की उपेक्षा निरंतर हुई है। खेती और किसान मंत्रालय का नाम रख देने से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है।
आज इस देश में, और सॉरी टू से कृषि मंत्री जी, पिछले कुछ वर्षों में इस साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी और रिसर्च के बारे में थोड़ा हमारा दुर्लक्ष्य रहा है, और इसको आपको कहीं ना कहीं इस परिस्थिति को सुधारना होगा।
Limited procurement of food grains by government agencies and failure to provide remunerative price to the farmers. These are key issues. How we can address as a nation, as a government, as a parliament, how we can address these key issues.
The centre hit back at the opposition, saying that the misery of the farmers was due to the Congress party's rule of 60 years. Minister of State for Agriculture Purushottam Rupala also informed the House of the initiatives taken by the centre for the welfare of farmers.
50,000 करोड़ का प्रावधान करके एक कृषि सिंचाई योजना का अमल करने का काम किया। 22 योजनाएं कंप्लीट हो गई, आप चाहेंगे तो नाम भी देंगे। प्रधानमंत्री सिंचाई योजना के माध्यम से हर जिला का इरिगेशन बन रहा है।
Earlier, initiating the discussion, Digvijay Singh mentioned the police firing on a farmers' agitation in Madhya Pradesh's Mandsaur district that killed 6 farmers. Singh also alleged that the crop insurance policy was a move taken by the government to benefit industrialists. Panchanan Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
More news from the upper house. In opposition, members in the Rajya Sabha on Tuesday demanded publication of the names of a top 100 loan defaulters. They also sought to know the number of demonetized 500 and 1,000 rupee notes that have been returned in the banking system after demonetization.
Raising the issue of loan defaulters in the upper house during 0 hour, Naresh Agarwal of the Samajwadi Party said the RBI had refused to publish the names of corporate defaulters. On the other hand, he alleged that names of farmers or students who default on loans are published.
उन 100 लोगों की लिस्ट पूरे देश के सामने होनी चाहिए जिन पे देश का अरबों खरबों रुपया बाकी है, और देश जान सके वो कौन लोग हैं और किसके संरक्षण में पल रहे हैं।
Anand Sharma of the Congress sought to know why the Reserve Bank of India had not yet provided the number of demonetized 500 and 1000 rupee notes returned to the banking system even after 9 months of the note ban decision.
In 9 months, even a new child is born if the mother conceives. Now they say we are going to get new counting machines. We don't know how much money has come. This is a very serious matter. You are talking of going to moon and Mars, digital India, and you can't count money?
Demands were also raised to regulate the broadcast of army operations on television channels during the 0 hour. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
More news from Rajya Sabha, and senior Congress leader Ahmed Patel has been re-nominated as the party's candidate for the upcoming Rajya Sabha election from Gujarat. He will file his nomination papers today. Now, Patel's first term in the Rajya Sabha had begun in 1993, and if re-elected, the 67-year-old leader would become the member of the upper house of parliament for the 5th time. Meanwhile, in a meeting of the Congress MLAs held in the state party headquarters, Mohsin Ratwa was elected as the in-charge leader of opposition in the Gujarat Assembly till a new leader is appointed. Now, the new LOP had to be appointed as veteran leader Shankar Singh Waghela, who was the LOP in the State Assembly, had quit the party on 21st of July. Now, the election to the Rajya Sabha seat in Gujarat will be held on 8th of August. The last date for the filing of nominations for 10 Rajya Sabha vacancies from Gujarat, West Bengal and Madhya Pradesh is 28th of July. And the Central Committee of the CPIM, its highest decision-making body, has decided against nominating Party General Secretary Sitaram Yechury for a 3rd consecutive Rajya Sabha term. According to PTI, a deeply divided Central Committee took the decision after a vote by raising of hands after nearly 4 hours of deliberations. In fact, a majority of the Central Committee members from southern states of Kerala, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu opposed the proposal of taking Congress's help to re-nominate Yechury. The proposal for a 3rd term for Yechury was moved by the West Bengal unit of the CPIM in June after the Congress central leadership reportedly offered its support. The party's Politburo had already rejected the proposal before it came up for discussion by the Central Committee. The 2nd term of Yechury, a Rajya Sabha member from West Bengal, ends next month. News from Jammu and Kashmir, and Kashmiri separatist leader Sabir Shah was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate last night. Now, this is in connection with over a decade-old money laundering case against him for alleged terror financing. He was arrested in Srinagar and is expected to be brought to Delhi today, where he will be produced in court. The Enforcement Directorate had issued multiple summons to Shah, but he never deposed before it. A Delhi court had earlier this month issued a non-bailable warrant against him. The agency had issued several summons to Shah over the last few years following the August 2005 case where the Delhi police arrested Mohammad Aslam Wani, an alleged Hawala dealer. Now, Wani had claimed that he passed on 2.25 crore rupees to Shah. The ED had registered a criminal case under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act against Shah and Wani. Wani has already been arrested. Meanwhile, all the 7 Hurriyat leaders who were arrested on Monday for funding Kashmir unrest were sent to 10 days of NIA custody by a Delhi court. The arrested separatist leaders include hardliner Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani's son-in-law, Altaf Ahmed Shah, as well as the spokesperson of the Gilani-led Hurriyat group, Ayaz Akbar. Now, following their arrest on Monday, separatist leaders Gilani and Mirwais Umer Farooq have given a call for a shutdown in Kashmir. Now, public transport, shops, other businesses and educational institutions in Srinagar remain closed. The authorities also imposed restriction on parts of the valley to avoid any untoward incident. Meanwhile, the crackdown on Hurriyat leaders by the NIA has evoked several reactions. Let's listen into some of them.
NIA को मुबारक, अब सच्चाई सामने आएगी, आपको भी मालूम होगा, हमें भी मालूम होगा कि पैसा कहां से आया, किसने लाया, उसको कैसे इस्तेमाल किया गया। ये खुशी की बात है।
जो जांच एजेंसी काम कर रही है वो देश के हित में काम कर रही है। हमें यहाँ से आतंक समाप्त करना है, अलगाववादियों को अपनी जगह दिखानी है, देश को हमें अखंड रखना है, देश की रक्षा करनी है और कश्मीर की जनता को सुरक्षा देनी है। इसलिए हमें कार्रवाई करने के लिए जो एजेंसी को काम दिया है एनआईए काम कर रही है, वो करती रहेगी, उन्हें को रोकेगा नहीं।
कानून तो अपना काम करेगा और इस तरह से जो अलगाववादी नेता हैं, जिलानी हैं या अन्य हैं, उनका भी असली चेहरा देश के सामने आया है।
On to some other news. Now, setting the ball rolling for the appointment of the next Chief Justice of India, incumbent J.S. Kehar has named Justice Deepak Mishra as his successor. Now, according to laid down procedure, the Law Minister writes to the CJI seeking his recommendation on who should succeed him. Now, the CJI has replied recommending the name of Mishra. Justice Kehar retires on 27th of August this year. Now, 63-year-old Justice Mishra is the senior-most judge of the Supreme Court after Justice Kehar. Justice Mishra will also retire on 2nd of October 2018. And in Breakfast News, we'll take a very short break. Up next, we have more news, including all the updates on the flood situation in the country. Stay with us.
झांझुआ राजपूत घराने से हूँ और मेरे खानदान की रगों में हमेशा ही फौजी खून रहा है। उस वक्त मैं हिंदुस्तान को एक अंग्रेज की नजर से देखता था। अंग्रेजों का नमक खाया हमने, उसे खारिज कर दूं मैं? लेकिन जब नजर साफ हुई तो मेरी समझ में आ गया, आजादी के लिए लड़ने वाली अगर कोई फौज है तो उसका नाम है आजाद हिंद फौज।
नमस्ते, मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा खुशी हो रही है ये देखकर कि आपका रिस्पांस बहुत अच्छा रहा है ट्रेलर के लिए, और आप सबको बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया कि आपने इतनी शुभकामनाएं भेजी हैं।
Now, an update on the flood situation in various parts of the country, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi conducted an aerial survey of the flood-affected areas of Gujarat. He announced an interim assistance of 500 crore rupees for Gujarat, where 2 districts continue to reel under floods. The Prime Minister also announced an ex-gratia of 2 lakh rupees each for the next of the kin of those killed and 50,000 rupees to those seriously injured. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday made an aerial survey of the flood-affected areas of Gujarat. He announced an interim assistance of 500 crore rupees for Gujarat, where 2 districts continue to reel under floods. Prime Minister Modi, who undertook an aerial survey of the flood-hit areas with Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani, said that 10 more Indian Air Force helicopters would be pressed into service for rescue and relief operations.
भारत सरकार की तरफ से स्टेट डिजास्टर रिलीफ फंड के लिए 500 करोड़ रुपए से भी ज्यादा तत्काल मुहैया करा दिया जाएगा, और सर्वे करने के बाद जो भी आवश्यकता होगी उस आवश्यकताओं को भारत सरकार तत्काल परिपूर्ण करेगी.
PM Modi has announced an ex-gratia of 2 lakh rupees each for the next of kin of those killed and 50,000 rupees to the seriously injured.
मैं मुख्यमंत्री विजय रूपाणी जी और उनकी पूरी टीम को भी बधाई देता हूं, क्योंकि जो मैंने रिव्यू किया, जिस तेजी से सरकार ने सारी परिस्थिति को संभाला है, रिस्पॉन्ड किया है, और उनके पास सारी जानकारियां हैं, आगे की ब्लूप्रिंट तैयार है, तो इतनी तेजी से गुजरात सरकार सक्रियता के पूर्वक काम किया है.
The flood has affected Banaskantha and Patan districts, prompting authorities to declare a statewide high alert. However, hundreds of people are still waiting to be shifted to safer places. Meanwhile, rescue operations resumed in rain-hit areas of Rajasthan's Jalore district. At least 19 people were rescued from inundated areas. Relief operations are also on in Sirohi and Pali districts that are facing flood-like situation due to incessant rainfall.
3 जिलों में विशेष रूप से बाढ़ का प्रकोप रहा है, और चौथा जिला अब जुड़ रहा है वो बाड़मेर है. सबसे ज्यादा जो संकट की स्थिति थी वो जालौर में थी. तो जितने लोग भी थे उन सब लोगों को हमने 40-44 लोगों को निकाल लिया. कहीं एनडीआरएफ ने निकाला, कहीं एसडीआरएफ ने निकाला. आर्मी का कॉलम ने भी 14 लोगों को उन्होंने भी बाहर निकाला. कम से कम पानी से गिरे हुए किसी की डेथ नहीं हुई.
In Odisha, Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik asked the administration to evacuate people from low-lying areas of Keonjhar, Bhadrak and Jajpur districts due to incessant rains.
He also directed the administration to keep at least 60 multi-purpose shelters ready to house the people likely to be evacuated.
खेती बाड़ी के लिए बारिश बहुत ज़रूरी है, लेकिन आम आदमी को परेशानी तो होती है। देखिए बारिश में कितना लोग भीगता है और सड़कें जाम होती हैं, ट्रैफिक जाम होता है।
Meanwhile, the overall flood situation in Assam improved considerably, with Brahmaputra and Barak rivers as well as their tributaries showing a receding trend. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
17 people were killed and 11 others were injured when a 4-story residential building collapsed in suburban Ghatkopar in Mumbai on Tuesday. According to residents, the pillars of the building got weakened due to ongoing renovation of a nursing home located on its ground floor. They also said that the building was not listed among those in the dangerous category. Now, a total of 60 NDRF Jawans along with sniffer dogs were pressed into service. Rescue operations are still underway. Later, the Mumbai police booked and detained Shiv Sena leader Sunil Shitab. Now, Shitab is being questioned by the police. Meanwhile, Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis visited the spot and directed the Brihan-Mumbai Municipal Corporation to file a report on the incident within 15 days. The Chief Minister also assured action against those responsible for the deadly mishap.
बीएमसी कमिश्नर को मैंने आदेश दिया है कि बीएमसी भी इसकी एक जांच करेगी। कमिश्नर 15 दिन में उसका रिपोर्ट हमको देंगे। जिस प्रकार से जो वहाँ काम चल रहा था, कई प्रकार के अटकलें हैं, आज उस पर कमेंट करना ठीक नहीं होगा, उसका कारण क्या है। पर जो भी हो, अगर किसी के जानबूझकर कोई कार्रवाई करने से अगर ये बिल्डिंग नीचे आई है तो ऐसे व्यक्ति या व्यक्तियों के ऊपर मनुष्यवध का भी गुनाह दाखिल किया जाएगा और सरकार इसमें बहुत सख्त से सख्त कार्रवाई करेगी।
On to some other news. India on Tuesday strongly condemned the Organization of Islamic Cooperation resolutions on Jammu and Kashmir, terming them as misleading and factually incorrect. In a recent meeting of the foreign ministers, OIC had reaffirmed that its principal position for fully supporting the people of Jammu and Kashmir in their struggle to achieve their legitimate rights. Now, the OIC has 57 states as its members. That include Turkey, UAE, Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh as well. The External Affairs Ministry outrightly rejected the resolutions, saying that OIC has no locus standi on India's internal affairs and that it should refrain from making any such references as Jammu and Kashmir was an integral part of India. News from the US now, where the House of Representatives voted overwhelmingly on Tuesday to slap new sanctions on Russia, Iran and North Korea. This comes despite President Donald Trump's objections to the legislation. Now, House members backed the measure by a margin of 419 to 3, with the strong support from Trump's fellow Republicans as well as Democrats. Now, with the bill, the US lawmakers have sent a message that they are willing to push hard as they investigate possible meddling by Russia in the 2016 US presidential elections and a potential collusion by Republican Trump's campaign. Now, the bill is likely to complicate President Trump's hopes of improving relations with Russia. The legislation must now pass the Senate. Then it will be sent to the White House for Trump to sign into law or a veto. Now, rejecting the bill would carry a risk that his veto could be overridden by the US lawmakers.
This is a very important bill. These three regimes in different parts of the world are threatening vital US interests and they are destabilizing their neighbors. It is well past time that we forcefully respond.
We simply cannot allow any foreign power to interfere in our electoral process. Given our president's complete unwillingness to hold Russia accountable for their attack, and let's not mistake it for anything else, it was an attack on America. It has become necessary for Congress to assert its role in this area and ensure that Russia will be held accountable.
More news from across the world in World Wrap. Sri Lanka's cabinet has cleared a revised agreement for a Chinese-built southern port of Hambantota. In the initial agreement, China's company Merchants Port Holdings was given an 80% stake. However, under the New Deal, Lankan government has sought to limit China's role to running only commercial operations at the port. The new term will help allay concerns of India as well as that of Japan and the United States that the port won't be used for military purposes. Pakistan's High Commissioner to India, Abdul Basit, has sought early retirement. Media reports say that his request has been accepted by Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. Now, Basit was set to retire from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in April 2018, but he submitted an application for early retirement. Media reports say that Basit was unhappy over the appointment of current Foreign Secretary Tehmina Janjuja, who is a junior to Basit. The US Senate has voted to start debating a new Republican health care bill. It is a major step forward for President Donald Trump's attempts to repeal his predecessor's signature Obamacare law. The Republican Party, which needed a majority for the motion to go ahead, secured 51 votes after Vice President Mike Pence cast a tiebreaker in support of the legislation. The prior attempts to replace Obamacare have collapsed in recent weeks due to the divisions within the Republican Party. 7 civilians, including 2 young children, were killed by a car bomb that exploded at a security checkpoint in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. The military said that it intercepted the vehicle at a checkpoint near the city of Arish, the capital of North Sinai province, and tried to contain the expected blast by running over the car with a tank. However, the bomb exploded after the tank had driven away, and the civilians nearby were caught in the blast. All right, let's bring you the sports news. And India will take on Sri Lanka in the first test of the 3-match series in Galle today. India will be without their regular opener KL Rahul, who has been ruled out due to flu. In his place, Abhinav Mukund will be given the batting with Shikhar Dhawan. And on the eve of the test, Captain Virat Kohli expressed positivity about his team's performance and said that the team's goal was to play consistent cricket to a high standards. He also hinted that all-rounder Hardik Pandya was likely to get his maiden test cap. Now, hosts Sri Lanka will be without their test skipper Dinesh Chandimal, who is recovering from pneumonia. Rangana Herath will be the stand-in captain for the match. Remember, India had won the 3-match test series in Sri Lanka in 2015 after losing the first test in Galle. Now, besides the test series, the two teams will also play 5 one-day internationals and 1 T20 match as well during a 1.5-month-long bilateral series.
We don't see any series as a launch pad for anything. For us, it's all about playing consistent cricket wherever we play, and try to string in those performances because of which we are, at the top of the rankings, and we realize what needs to be done. So, we're pretty humble in our preparations and willing to do the hard yards every game that we play.
And Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari on Tuesday met the star cast of the Rajya Sabha television production Rag Desh. Now, film producer and Rajya Sabha TV CEO Gurdeep Singh Sappal introduced the film stars to the Vice President. The Vice President extended his best wishes for the success of the film. The film is slated to be released on 28th of July. That's it in this edition of news. Thanks for watching. Have a great day ahead.